It really does. If you're going to get that kind of trajectory, then it's got to flow naturally. And this movie pulls out the fucking fire hose on you like you're in a prison movie. It starts spraying you down with feel good. I'm sorry. I just don't, it's too forceful. I mean, even when you look at something like, all right, so the best aspect of this is probably the cinematography, right? I mean, it is beautiful to look at. It's by Janusz Kaminski, who's worked with Spielberg, I believe, on a number of pictures, but even that, when you take that and you mix it with a score and you go, wow, both these things are working so hard to make you feel something with a script that's really kind of shit.
I was screaming, get the fuck away from that horse. Quick.
But it just doesn't. I mean, the best thing about it is when you get to the actual war, because Spielberg knows war. I mean, as much, he knows war the way Mel Gibson knows violence. So when it comes to that in their movies, they know what to do. And it's great to look at. And there is some emotional impact there, but again, this is a trend with a lot of movies this year where it's like, well, that's really cool, but it's too little, too late.
The main character that annoyed me the most is the Albert Narracott character. Now, I really did love the beginning of the movie, and I really like the actors in that part. Peter Mullen plays the father, Ted Narracott, and Emily Watson, we said, plays the mother. And on the farm in the very beginning, it's probably the most sincere, emotional part of the movie, even though it's mostly comedic. Now, the part where I got annoyed with the film, and I was seriously, I'm serious, I got creeped out, is with the kid Albert. I mean, because that kid was really fixated on this horse, because he would hug on this horse and he'd be like, I love you. And the horse's name is Joey. And he was like, I love you, Joey. I love you with all my heart. We will be together again. That horse is like, we're just friends, right? And then there was other parts where they were even riding by a girl. And that horse was like, look, that girl's giving you the eye. And it's like, no, I love you, Joey. And I was like,
I'm going to ride you.
Yeah, I'm going to ride you. I'm going to ride you to the sunset. And it's like, you are really putting it on thick with this character to where it is weird. No kid as good looking as this who has prospects would not be this much into a horse unless he was fucking his horse.
Well, he's too old to be playing this.
That's it. Yes.
That's the biggest problem. You're like, this is a full grown man. Why is he freaking out on this horse this bad? And the whole movie relies on you buying it. Yeah. The whole movie. If you don't buy that right from the start, that relationship, the truth of it, the beauty, as it were, of it, then fuck the rest of the movie. Yeah. There's no point. You might as well get up and leave.
If you were to remake E.T. with a 20-year-old Elliot, I mean, that shit ain't working. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, really, the movie, if they didn't want to rely on the human beings too much because it was too heavy-handed in that area, then they should have made you feel something more for the horse. And the horse doesn't really even seem to give a shit, except when he's running from something. The horse doesn't really show any real emotion towards anything that's happening to it. I almost feel like, and this is me thinking about the movie that I would have liked to have seen, but I'm wondering if in this day and age, if they could have made a CG film that's not very cartoony, with sort of like what we have with Tintin, maybe a little more realistic, to where they could have anthropomorphized the horses a little bit more, realistic horses, but CG animated so that you could have seen more emotion and therefore show the story more through their eyes, because I found that more fascinating.
The book was actually told through the horse's eyes, like the original children's book that this all started from.
And that makes sense.
They tried to adapt it as a movie that way for years and actually had given up until the stage play came along, which was what changed the concept so it wasn't that way. In fact, apparently it's pretty different from the book, as apparently the movie is pretty different from the play. I think we're dealing with a product of severely watered down at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, you either have the balls to tell it from the horse's point of view or give up, because the human characters just aren't that interesting. They aren't at all. And there's a complete loss of what the motivation is, because if the motivation is to root for the horse to get back to the kid who's not even a kid, who's a man, you can't go with that. And every time he got with some other person, it's like, okay, this could be interesting, except it's not. And I just want this movie to be over with. I'll just be straight up. And to me, it's just a rental, and maybe even a low rental.
Yeah, there's that point about 40 minutes from the end where it goes, you know what? I think it's about time we finally showed you some spectacle, Spielberg style. And nobody knows how to film like, you know, one of the world wars like Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of experience at it already. And sure enough, the World War I trench sequences are really exciting. You're like, wow, where'd this come from? I'm awake. But it is too little, too late. And you fall right back asleep as soon as it's over. You're like, oh, really? That was it? God damn it. But you know what? Other than that, it's got aspects that are good. Like I said, I thought the cinematography is beautiful, even though it does feel like it's, you know, carrying the script like a wounded man with
the horse is carrying
with John Williams on the other side, you know, helping it limp along. But it is beautiful cinematography. There are points that just the shots take your breath away, but that's just not enough for a whole film. It's just a rental. Yeah.
Yeah. It bears to mention that I know I keep harping on this kid and how he has freaky love for this horse, but this kid is in the military. He's like in the trenches, and he's writing love letters to this horse. He doesn't even write. He's not. You know, he's been talking about, I got to get back to my horse, and everybody's like, man, I got a chick to get back to, not a fucking animal. You know, it's really weird in that aspect, and it's painful to criticize, especially a Spielberg movie like this. I don't want to say too much what everybody else has been saying. You know, yes, the cinematography is great, but one of the things about Spielberg movies is that there's always one magnificent scene in there where you see Spielberg being the genius that he is. And there is one scene in here where a Brit that has to work with a German, and the thing they have in common is that they have to help Joey in a dangerous situation. And the dialogue and the way that dialogue is played out through them working together as they cut this horse out of barbed wire is truly incredible.
And so, they're immediately killed right after.
No, they're not. No, they're not. But no,
they die of mysterious cause.
You got war horse. That's death horse.
Yeah, they fight each other who's going to have sex with the horse, because every male apparently who touches his horse is automatically like turned on. His horse has some hell of endorphins coming out of his ass. But this movie is, you see scenes like that where that one scene where you see it being an incredible scene, and then you have to go in and say that the rest of the movie is just not up to par. It almost hurts to do that. So when I give this a rental, it's a very reluctant rental, because there's so much potential in a movie like this that it's just wasted on Spielberg trying to tell you how to feel instead of like genuinely let you feel.
Right. And, you know, and I'm with you. That one scene, and that one scene alone is like the one bright spot about this whole movie. It's the one part that the horse didn't fucking kill. And, you know, but saying that though, it sucks because, you know, how can you, I'm fighting it so much not to repeat exactly what everyone says. It's great cinematography. Right? But other than that, I'm giving it some bullshit because I'm sorry. You know,
you really hate horses.
It was.
I don't blame
this movie was so goddamn forced. Even the end where they tried to like have characters meet each other, you know, like the ending. I don't know. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we were
when they
talking
have
about
to,
that
yeah, well,
how forced and nonsensical it all.
It was so, and for Spielberg to like not look at that and go, okay, you know what? This is amateur hour at the Apollo. Well, why are we even like, why do we even keep the scene
horse
in the
gets
movie?
up there. Yo, black horses are like this. White horses like this.
I didn't get to finish editing because the Sandman swept me out of the room.
And co-host, I'm with you completely on that. I feel deceived by this movie. I wanted to see Saving Private Ryan with fucking horses. A cast of nothing but horses. Want to see horses storming the beach of Normandy, man.
In the sequel, it'll be personal. Like in this one, the horse will actually pick up arms. He'll be in World War II picking up a bazooka and shooting the crowd.
Is he going to put on a red bandana and go save our soldiers, our MIAs?
That's
from that's awesome. I don't know if you guys heard this, but he's actually going to star in the third Expendables movie along with Chuck Norris. And action stars. I read it just now.
Be brave! Be brave! Be brave!